Hello React Native developers, I hope you are well. William here, recording from beautiful Zurich, Switzerland. On the Reanimated 2 course, we have built this great SVG graph user interaction, and in the sequence that you are seeing here, no JavaScript code is executed in the JavaScript thread. The whole animation is built entirely on the UI thread. So from calculating the position of the cursor to nicely move along the SVG path, going from the position of the cursor to a data point from the graph and formatting its values, here a datetime and a number, everything is done on the UI thread. And such an example is quite exciting because such capabilities were not available to us in Reanimated 1. That reminded me of an old episode of Can It Be Done in React Native where we had to cross the bridge when moving the cursor around to select a data point and also to format the values. In this video, I would like us to build the same example using Reanimated 2. By using Reanimated 2, the performance of such a user interaction should be dramatically improved since we won't cross the React Native bridge at any point, and the code should get much cleaner because we will be able to share JavaScript code for formatting values, scaling the graph across the JavaScript thread and the UI thread via animation worklets. So I hope that you are as excited as I am to dive into such an example. Let's have a look. So here I copy-pasted the code from the Can It Be Done in React Native episode into a Reanimated 2 project. And here I am running Reanimated 2 Alpha.4. And there are quite some nice improvements that I'm enjoying with Alpha.4, especially if you are using TypeScript. So now it ships with the Reanimated 2 TypeScript types, which are really, really good. I mean, as far as I played with them, I'm really enjoying it. There are some bug fixes related to worklet using TypeScript. And sometimes also it's the smallest things that bring you most pleasure. And I'm really enjoying now that we can pass a function expression as a parameter of a Reanimated 2 hook. So you don't have to do function body, return something. And that actually, you know, when you code, I think it has actually quite a substantial impact on productivity, and just like, it's just nice that, you know, you don't have to think about it and you write your code as if, you know, you would just write regular JavaScript code. Here in chart-helpers.ts, I decided to centralize all the logic of my graph. So I have my data here and I have the size of my Canva. And so it's a square, right? I take the width of the screen and I make it a square. I have the step, which is size divided by the number of candles, right? So by how much pixel, you know, I can go from one candle to the other. Then I need to format prices, format dates. So here I have some JavaScript code to do number formatting and date formatting. Here you can adjust it to whatever you want. I just put some random formatting. Then here in get domain, I get the mean and max value of my data set. And then I have scale y, right? So we have mean and max. So if the value is mean, we are at the bottom. So we are at size. If the value is a max, we are at 0. So we use scale. We have the invert of the scale. So we go from 0 size to mean max. And in scale body, we do the scaling of the body of the candle. So here it's not from mean to the max value, but from 0 to the difference between the mean and the max value. And so actually we're already using these functions on the UI thread, on the JavaScript thread, sorry, to display this graph here. So it should be in chart. So we use scale while and scale body to display the graph here. So we have the line and the body of the candle, which is a rectangle. But what is cool is that we can also, because these are worklets, use these functions on the UI thread if we need it for our animations. So we are going to build the user interactions in 3 steps. First, we're going to take care of the gesture. So we're going to add a pan gesture handler and use it to calculate the translation of the horizontal axis and the vertical axis. So that's going to be step 1. And we need also to calculate the opacity. So it should be, you should only see it when the gesture is active. Step 2, we have this label component. So we're gonna use invert scale so we have the Y value. So we're gonna use invert scale to go from that Y value to a data point and then format the value. And so this is cool because now we can do it entirely on the UI thread and the value will be formatted exactly as if we were on the JavaScript thread. So it's all consistent everywhere. So that's step 2. And step 3, we're gonna again go from the Y value to select a data point. And the data point has open, close, high, low, and here we need to calculate a change and also animate the color of the change if it's positive or negative. And again, we're gonna be able to do this entirely on the UI thread. So let's get started. And we're gonna create a pan gesture handler, and that would be on gesture event, use animated gesture handler. And we need 2 animation values, translate X and translate Y. And we need the opacity as well. Okay. So when the gesture is active, so on active, we take the X and Y position of the finger. And for X, so for Y, it's easy, right? Translate. We just need to take the Y value and clamp it. So we can use clamp of Y. And we go from 0 to size. And for X, we need to step we can only step from one candle to the other. So it's a discrete value. So we are gonna take the Y value minus, I would do Y divided by a modulo step, and we need to add, if I remember correctly from the previous example, we need to add the middle for the translation. But this plugin is really useful, but also annoying because it does double imports. I mean, this is wild. Okay. And now let's see. And also we're gonna set opacity to 1 if the gesture is active. So let me animate the horizontal. So let's do a horizontal and a vertical style. So horizontal, use animated style, and we return opacity and translate X, which is translate X.value. And we can do the same with vertical. Actually, horizontal is translate Y, and vertical is translate X. So let's assign these, so it's opacity.value. Let's assign this to styles. So these are already animated views. That's good. Or we should, yeah, okay. We could assign only the opacity to 1. It doesn't matter. So x equals size, y so okay, so we go from 0 0 to x size y0. So this one is horizontal 1, so I'm going to assign horizontal, and this one vertical. Let's, of course, this is annoying. And we need to assign the onGesture event. Okay. So that looks good, but of course the value is wrong here. And if we stop the gesture, the opacity needs to go back to 0. So we miscalculated its x. Yeah. Perfect. So that was step 1. So you see x move discretely from one candle to the other, and y moves continuously, like on the Coinbase Pro. So this is fun. Now let's do the value formatting. So going from this cursor position to a data point and format the value here in label. So in label, we're going to need the translate y value. So I can add it here. So that would be animated dot shared value of number. Sorry, that would be translate y. Okay. And sorry. So we can use read text. So here I'm using, so let's import it. I started to rewrite essentially Redash to work with Reanimated 2. And so this is a component that exists in Redash, but here it has been migrated to work with Reanimated 2 that allows you to display string animation value using an animated text input. And you can apply a style and yeah. So read text. So we're going to calculate, so text. We're going to calculate the text value. Do I have a style for it? No. Okay. So we're going to calculate value from translate y. So we're going to use derived value. And so we need to go from a y value to a price. So we are going to use scale y invert. And so the translate y, we have it here. And then we can format the price. So format USD price. And here would be dot value. And so here I'm wondering actually if I did make a mistake, and you might have caught this mistake already. It's 0 size, so that would be the reverse domain. Actually, this domain, I should just have min and max. Maybe it's too confusing. Oops. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so now we need also the opacity, and I mean what we need is this. No, this one here. And I'm thinking, should I just pass it as a property, or should we just calculate it? Horizontal, okay. Okay. So that's not working, but it's actually for the best. I shouldn't have done that. Up. I'm gonna copy it here. And we have opacity also. Okay. So now it works, but okay. Much better. Perfect. And now what we can do, and so you see here we could actually make, you could add a size, I guess. So the size of the container doesn't change. So it would look a bit less disruptive, or make sure here that we format the value to be monospace and have always the same number of same width. And I think we use it in so here you would use font variant tabular nums. But now let's update the values here. So that would be step 3. So here we need the Y value to select the candle. So I'm going to use translate X. Let me add a type for it quickly. And so now on the UI thread, we want to select the candle. I mean, these, yeah. So these now are all calculated on the UI thread. So use, and all of these are going to become animation values. So let's do it. So use the right value. Our candle, so the index is the floor of translate x divided by step. I think it's simple as that. And of course, translate x.value. I mean, we don't technically, I mean, I add floor just by safety, but since we've done the step properly, right, and translate x is a discrete value, we shouldn't need it, but better safe than sorry. Yeah, okay, so now let's calculate all these animation values. So use the right value. And you see, speaking of the small things, I like that now I can just write such an expression directly. Candle becomes value. So it's value.open. And we need to do this for all. So this one is closed. This one is low. High. Here we calculate this string, but I need to add the dot value. Dot value. Dot value. That looks good. Same for change. Dot value. Dot value. Diff is a value as well. Dot value. Dot value. It's all a shared value. Always has been. Color. Huh. Let's also do the color. So it's also a use derived value. It's all use derived value. Always has been up. And we format also use, yeah, I mean, it's all done on the UI thread now. So candle.value.date. So here we use retext. We pass date as parameter. That's good. Now let's look at row. So this becomes retext. Text is value. Color, we need to create a style for it. So I'm gonna need to change the types here. So yeah, okay. So style, use animated style, color is color.value. Let me just here type it properly. So we have an animated dot shared value of a string, and same for color. Okay. Let's have a look. This is getting on my nerves. Invalid date, okay. So this one works somehow. Change, but not the other ones. And also it's a bit worrisome that we start with an invalid date. So let's debug. Okay. So we do have a candle selected. So is this, and this is indeed an invalid daytime. So that was correct, and I know why. Right, this. Do we have this at some other places? Yes. Okay. Just. No. Okay. And oops. So that looks good, but here we don't see the values. What did we do? What have we done? So the candle seems to be properly selected, but I need to form. I just need to format these values. Format USD. Oh, and do we pass the... Okay, we do give the color here. Because I'm wondering actually... I mean, okay, we need to format the values anyways, but I think we cannot see them. Okay, I know why actually. Because at initialization time, before we animate, it's actually rendered on the JavaScript thread because... And that's why that's what the retext component does. We need also to pass it, so this we animate on the text property, but for the default value we use the value property you see here. So we have the text property, and here we have the value property, and we don't have a color on the first render for it. I think that's exactly what happened. So I think I need to add a white color to the style to have it render properly. On the other end, so that looks good. On the other end, that wouldn't explain why here we get the color. So I think here if I do white, no. Yeah, anyways, when we move, we don't see the color. So, and why here? Shell. Ah, okay, that's the issue. Makes sense. You see, it's cool. I mean, I like that. So here I was doing something incorrect, and I just liked that TypeScript is telling me. I mean, here yeah. What am I doing? I should just disable the fast refresh when using Reanimated 2. But you see, isn't that cool? So here, all the JavaScript code runs on the UI thread, nothing running on the JavaScript thread, which is gonna drive great performances even on low-grade on-grade devices. And the code is super clean because we share the logic between the JavaScript thread and the UI thread to format values, scale the graph, and so to go from data points to pixels and to go from pixels to data points. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this example. now I'm so excited with Alpha 0.4 that you're gonna see more and more reanimated true examples coming onto this channel. So I am really looking forward to talk to you soon, and in the meantime, happy hacking.